So this week's video starts with the soft relaunch of the Queer Jozi History Tour, which is actually being renamed as the Queer Hillbrow Tour because the area in town where the tour takes place is mostly in the suburb of Hillbrow. This Queer Hillbrow Tour is put on by Delilah and Jay in partnership with Kaale, the organization that we're working with. Brendan and I were there as auditors because we're helping editing the script and just trying to figure out the reconfiguration of when we should talk about which points and which events as we kind of walk through downtown. The tour is around the neighborhood known as Hillbrow in downtown Johannesburg. It's essentially the area of downtown where the gay liberation movement started in South Africa. I don't have clips from every stop on the tour, but from what I do have, I'll do my best to explain what they are and what the significance was of those spots. The tour started at Ponte, where Delilah and Jay is based. There, Sam and Kaale talked about how queer history is linked to the liberation of South Africa. From the 1960s to 1980s, Hillbrow was a very affluent space. It was originally designated a white area by the apartheid government. During this time, however, Hillbrow emerged as a gray area where black people could live illegal and unprosecuted. The presence of queer people living in Hillbrow in the late 1970s and early 80s led to the changing racial attitudes and turned it into a tolerant, liberated zone dubbed a pink neighborhood. Queer people and their activism played a prominent role in the deracialization of the neighborhood in the early 80s. As this form of coexistence between black people and white people and straight people and gay people became apparent to the apartheid government, they redlined the area, making it illegal to finance buildings, get bank loans, and they stopped providing municipal services to the area, making it unlivable, leading to a mass exodus of the entire area. This redlining led to intense urban degradation, making it one of the most dangerous cities in the world because you couldn't have people of different races or different sexualities living together. So this tour is extremely important because for the longest time, queer people have been erased from history entirely, making it easy for our voices to be silenced and lost. A tour like this helps reclaim the spaces and voices within Johannesburg's history and honors the legacies of the people that have come before. From Ponte, we moved to the Hillbrow Theater, where multiple stories were told about the actors in the drama and art scene who played meaningful parts in the gay liberation movement. As we walked through Joubert Park, Sam explained how people of color were allowed in the park but were not allowed to sit on any benches. There are stories from black men interviewed about how they would cruise up and down the fences of Union grounds and service white soldiers through fences. During this time, it was more safe for queer people to engage in sexual activity in public than it was in private. Our next stop on the tour was Park Station. Park Station is a train and bus depot in the middle of the city where queer migrants and asylum seekers arrive from across the continent when seeking refuge. For many coming from neighboring countries, this is their first stop. Park Station housed one of the only non-European cafes where black people could eat with dignity during the 60s. The station was also one of the few places where white and black men cruising could meet. Currently, there's a venue called Buffalo Bill's in Park Station, which is popular amongst many queer people. It's seen as a laid-back venue where young queers can come and chill, and it's also where we had lunch. Outside, we talked about the Hoffman v. South African Airlines case, where a prospective employee was denied employment after a compulsory medical examination found that he was HIV positive. Ultimately, it was ruled that the plaintiff's constitutional rights to not be discriminated against were being infringed upon. We also spoke about the myth of Patient Zero, who arrived in New York City in 1979 and triggered the AIDS epidemic in the United States. At Con Hill, we spoke about trans rights in jails, the Jade September case, and how South Africa ultimately achieved gay rights and marriage equality. From there, we walked down to Pretoria Street and spoke about one of the most important actors in the gay rights movement, Simon and Kaale. In October 1985, Simon and Kaale, along with 21 other activists, was on trial for treason. The mid-80s marked a watershed moment in South African history. Simon's coming out during the course of the treason trial had a significant impact on the inclusion of gay and lesbian rights in the mass democratic movement in South Africa. Following his acquittal, Simon founded the organization GLOW, Gays and Lesbians of Witwatersrand. GLOW emerged as a robust new player in the field of sexual identity politics and ultimately took over GASA's position in the international field because they combine sexual identity politics and anti-apartheid activism. In 1990, GLOW staged South Africa's first ever gay pride parade down the streets of Johannesburg. I hope you liked hearing about what the Queer Jozi tour was and is going to be. And if you like it, you're gonna have to come to South Africa and take the tour yourself to find out any more information.